All right, y'all. Every time I try to do this, it gets disrupted. So let me see how far we can get before we get disrupted. It is the left-legged legend. I am sitting here in Miami, Florida. I don't know if you can see. Well, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I got surgery number 14 on October 13th. Today is November 13th. It's 1 month later. It's also a year and a day after my last prosthesis went bad. I planned a trip to Medellin, Colombia to sit down and write. I figured that after this surgery, they were putting in a tumor prosthesis, so I'd be able to start my Hemingway years where I'm going to travel. I'm going to sit down and finish writing all these writing assignments that I have. I'm finishing an English textbook right now. I want to write a cookbook for fun. I want to write an expose about the correctional system. I want to write a tetralogy, a pentalogy of a fiction novel, pentalogy, and some other stuff. I want to do my research on global higher education and all that. So I got this, 5-10 year plan of what I'm going to do after I get my leg fixed. Well, I've been walking. I've been applying pressure to my leg a little bit at a time, following the doctor's orders. Everybody says, take it easy, take it easy. But the medical field is never like, take it easy. They're like, get up and walk. I know we've had this conversation, but I want to reiterate that because everybody seems to be like, take it, slow down. It's almost as if people expect that you're supposed to lay down and die after something happens. But that's me. That's me figuring that out. So anyway, so on November 7th, the night of the 6th, I have this trip planned. I go to therapy, and then after therapy, it was hurting, and so I was going on my trip, so I didn't really care about it hurting. I just needed to maybe get on the plane. Once I get there, I could relax. That was my plan. I didn't think anything was terribly wrong with it. It didn't hurt in a sense of that, and maybe it did, and maybe I just decided that since I was going to relax on my trip anyway, there's no reason to cause alarm or any of that. It's Friday night anyway. So anyway, I land and I get to my Airbnb and my leg is hurting, so I put ice on it and I lay down, and people come by. I know people in Medellin, so they come by and they see me, we eat, and everybody leaves because I tell them like, no, my leg is hurting. I will be back on track, later. At a later date, I'll be able to jump back in and we'll go kick it and do all the stuff that we're going to do, Basically, I was going to just sit there anyway and visit with friends. But later that night, about 4 a.m, I go to turn over and my leg snaps like a toothpick. And it doesn't hurt, but it snaps. And I knew that it was the prosthesis because it hurt. Now, at the time, I didn't know if it slipped out because I was sleeping with my legs bent or whatever, or if it broke because it was just a very simple snap like a toothpick. But in the next couple of hours, I was sure that it had really broken because my leg swelled up to about 3 times the size as it was, and it hurt really bad. So I text my buddy about 4:30 in the morning that, hey, something happened with my leg. I need to go to the hospital. And then I went to sleep. I went back to sleep. I laid in a position that was comfortable, and I just stayed in that position until they came in. Now, luckily, the night before, I gave them the keys because I wasn't going to go back and forth to the door. So luckily, I gave them the keys, and then I woke up, and they were sitting on the bed and asked me if I was okay. Like, no, I need to go to the hospital. And we went and it took like 2 hours for the ambulance to get there, in some of these countries, the ambulances are like private rides. It's almost like calling a medical Uber or something, right? You got to find somebody with an ambulance that's going to come take you to the hospital. You're going to pay them directly at the end of your ride to the hospital. So that's what I did. And at first we went to the hospital of Las Vegas, which I thought, oh my God, this is, divine intervention. I'm at a hospital called Las Vegas, and those of you that know me personally know my relationship with the city of Las Vegas. So when I got to Clínica Las Vegas, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So things are kind of working in my favor. I'm at the Las Vegas clinic, so let me go in here. But then they're like, well, it's private, and they need like $1 million Colombian pesos to go into the hospital, and then 5 million for me to deposit to guarantee and stay there. And that sounds like a lot, 6 million pesos, but it's really not that much when you divide it by about 3,500. So it ended up being, a couple $1,000. Which I had and would have paid them, but then everybody's like, no, don't pay that, because then when you get in there, you got to pay for all your services. Like, it's a la carte. This is the Clínica Las Vegas. Like, this is every time they do something for you, you're going to end up paying for it, because that's how it works. It's for people with money. And I looked at how much money I had, and let's say they wanted 6 million to go in. I maybe had another 11 and a half, 12 million left to spend total, and I didn't want to do that. And I guess I had more than that if I count up all my credit cards and all my stuff. I probably could have, made it to 25 million with all my resources. But then, did I really want to spend all my resources just to be in the hospital? I needed to go somewhere comfortable and figure it out. So I go to the General Hospital of Medellin, Hospital General de Medellin, and it was an experience, y'all. I mean, first of all, there were no rooms. There were like curtains separating everything. So you think about a hallway and maybe 30 or 40 curtains separating different rooms in the hallways. They were real basic concrete rooms, didn't have anything in it. In America, we're used to TVs in the room. We're used to dinner trays and bathrooms in the rooms and windows and all of that stuff, but there was none of that. And I'm pretty sure that I heard people die in there. There were people moaning and crying constantly, like a nightmare. They never turned the lights out. I didn't have my own personal light. All the lights were in the hallway, and they were at the control of the people there. And it was like being in a nightmare. But as I'm there, I was there for 3 days. As I'm there, I'm like soaking it in. I'm like, you're having this experience. You need to experience the experience. I'm trying to pay attention. There was a family there that was fighting about something. I don't know what it was. My Spanish is about 4th grade, but listening is probably about 1st grade. So I would have trouble understanding when they were arguing over each other, what they were arguing about. But, it was real life affirming that, I'm here and I'm alive and I don't have anything that's going to kill me. I thought I probably would leave there with coronavirus, but I must say one thing about that is I did not catch coronavirus there, and it's because that country took it seriously. Just to editorialize about this country, America, where we have so many rights, where that country doesn't have a huge pandemic of coronavirus, but they took it seriously from the beginning, and they made sure they did stuff that, helped them save their health. So it wasn't this big giant pandemic where 100,000 people were getting it every day. It was really going away because they weren't spreading it to one another. So I was there for 3 days. I didn't know what to do. I called my insurance and Kaiser. Oh my God, thank God for Kaiser, because Kaiser connected with a global company that then sent these angels from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, that came, air ambulance. I can't think of the name, but later I'm going to give them a shout out, because there was 2 doctors and there was 2 medical people that had to come into the hospital and get me. And it was a process, right? The hospital didn't want to receive any wire transfers from the insurance. They wanted me to pay directly. They were fighting over that. The hospital was holding me hostage and was not going to let me go if they didn't get paid the quickest way possible. I guess probably that's how it is in Colombia. And so we had to go back and forth, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls with my phone on. Thank God for AT&T and and my World Traveler plan and all of that stuff, because it kicked in, so that it's not going to really kick my ass. It'll be, my bill will probably be $70 to $100 more, even though I had my phone on the entire time once my leg broke. But anyway, so then I flew here. I flew to Fort Lauderdale first time in a little private charter jet, but I was in a hospital bed up against the wall, almost at the ceiling. I almost had claustrophobia at the beginning, but I was able to take a piece of an Ambien and just relax, take the edge off and be able to make that flight without hyperventilating and being too restless. If you also know me, you know that I'm highly restless and cannot sit still at any time. So anyway, I got here. Today is Friday, so this would have been Wednesday night that I got here. And I laid in the trauma unit for a while. They had made some orders and they took some x-rays and stuff, and it's broke. I mean, if you follow my social media, maybe you have seen the breakage. I'm thinking that I should create a Left-Legged Legend Instagram and Facebook and Twitter so that I can share that stuff easily. So by the time this episode is published, you will see that. But now I'm sitting in the hospital. I have make sure nothing. They put it in a brace just so I would stop moving it. It has been hurting, and I've been moving, and the bottom part of my leg can move, freely because it's not attached to anything. And then there's only the stump of my femur that's broken off of, but it has a dagger on it, that a piece that stayed on. So that dagger piece pokes stuff, and it's my leg, so I'm moving it, and so it's been poking stuff. So they made it so now it's stable. It doesn't hurt. I've been laid up here. It looks like I got some mango on me because mangoes are saving my life right now. I just ordered $35 worth of stuff from Walmart just because I wanted some mangoes to eat, whole mangoes. If you've never eaten a whole mango, you're missing out. But now is the hard part. So surgery number 14 was to put that into my femur, and it was supposed to last a long time and maybe get to surgery number 15 years later. Now, what was not explained to me is that, these surgeries can be a week or they could be 35 years. You don't know. It's up to you. But judging how my history has been over the last 10 years, I don't know if I want to trust that a leg that they're going to put in me is going to last. So now I had surgery number 14. Surgery number 15 would be to replace my entire femur with a titanium rod. Put it in there. It'd be all titanium from my hip all the way down to almost my ankle. That would save my leg. But then it's will it work? Is that something that is going to last, or will I be a month in again, 3 months in again, a couple years in again, and then that breaks? Because after that, the option is to amputate my leg at the hip. So doctor just came in and said, look, you're at surgery number 15. He didn't know I knew all of this. You got one more surgery and we could save this leg, or we could just cut it off now. Now, 6 months ago, I was cut it off now. When we first started Left-Legged Legend, the whole thing was we're going to cut this leg off. But after talking to some people and getting some input from other people have convinced me to not want to cut my leg off. But now I have to make a decision. Now I have to decide, do I, all I want to do is scuba dive all over the world. I want to swim a mile at the local YMCA about 4 times a week. I want to do yoga. I want to travel the world. I want to see parts of the world that I've never seen. I want to go to private beaches. I want to, make love. I want to ride roller coasters. So I want to do the thing that's going to get me those things back. In my head, I've already lost my leg. In my head, all I'm saving is my foot. But I don't know what I'm asking. I don't know what I'm saying when I say, if I tell the doctor, cut my leg off. I don't know what that means about my daily stuff. Like, how do I take showers? Will it be easy to turn over in the bed? Am I going to be able to live past the phantom pain that people with amputations get? Am I making this decision, in the sense of it being the best decision for me? So now I'm just engaging everybody. I mean, by the time you see this, the decision is going to be made, but I'd love to hear what people think or thought after the fact. Maybe I wouldn't love to hear it, but it's going to happen because this is not going to be posted by the time it happens. But 6 months ago, this would have been a happy conversation to have, to cut this leg off and give me a prosthesis and let me go. But now I'm scared because they've convinced me not to cut my leg off. They've had people talk to me, psychologists, psychiatrists, surgeons, specialists, people who've had limbs amputated, amputees, convince me. And then I was able to walk again for a month. So I was able to get the leg fixed and then say to people, I'm so glad they didn't cut it off. And now we're back at the conversation that I've been having internally for about 3 years. So it's tough. Will I be able to live the life that I'm explaining to you? Will I regret my decision? There's no going back from it. Do we take the advantage of it now that I have a stump that I could actually get a prosthesis fit to, that I could get up and walk? What will the depression be like? I don't know, but at some level, I'm going to be sharing that with you. That's why you're here. I'm explaining what's going on with me to you, but it's also documenting this whole process of what the fuck, man. So I don't know. My heart is broken for my leg. You're never born to think like one day you're going to lose a part of you. I think it's empowering, for lack of a better word, that I get to decide when my leg is gone. I'm 60-40 for cut it off, give me my life back. Let's learn new life at this age while I'm still young enough. Figure it out, live my dreams, keep living and keep moving, and finally have people tell me, you're going to have to slow down. Like, I don't even know what kind of life that is, to slow down. I don't know. I've become this person that wants to live every moment. I've become the person that wants to experience every moment. I was in a quote unquote third world hospital with no walls, with just curtains up. And I found a way to enjoy that. When there was a time when we were being so loud in my curtain that the people from the hospital had to come tell us, like, be quiet, you're laughing too much. Like, this is a serious place and y'all are having too much fun. So that's the kind of person, who you're saying you got to slow down with. I had a surgery, and in a month I was in Medellin, Colombia, about to spend a week. I have trips planned next week. I have trips planned next month. I have a long trip to Cuba planned. And I just want to do all that stuff. I've been laid up, and I have waited. To everybody that says all I need to do is lay my ass down or sit my ass down, I've been laid up for 7 months. I was in a wheelchair for 14 months. How much more laid up can you be for something else to go wrong? And it does the opposite. I know people think like, oh, you have surgery, you sit up, but it did the opposite for me. What it did for me is make me go, you know what? I need to get up. I need to do things because I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to be on my feet. And I hope people can understand that. And maybe it seems selfish or maybe it seems stupid or whatever. But it's just one of the things that I've adapted. There's a Jay-Z line that he says, if you grew up with holes in your Zappa toes, you would celebrate the minute you were having those, or something like that. Well, for me, if you couldn't walk in your shoes for months, you couldn't wait to walk again. And that's where I am. I'm not at the point where slow down. I'm at, if you put a leg on me or you take this leg off and give me a leg, I'm going to keep walking and keep stepping and keep moving, because I never know when it's going to stop again. And I don't know how many days I have left on this earth. And I don't know how much time, these things are going to last, or where I'm going to be able to go, or what I'm going to be able to do. And so it motivates me to do it. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So, the Left-Legged Legend signing off. Please like, subscribe, please share with your folks. Let everybody, let's get in the conversation and figure this out together.